Hey there. Hello, how do you do? My name is Harry Wetzel. Thanks for coming. It's the 80s, darling. Yes, it is. It is Friday the 13th of January, 1984. And Gregory and Michael got business uptown. And I have just arrived in the shop well over a half hour after closing time. Gregory is fuming and Michael is laughing. He took his shoes off. Well, so we close up everything and I start to sidle on out. And Gregory says, Harry, wait a minute. And he turns to Michael. He whispers something. Michael says, I don't mind. Come on, Harry. And he says, Harry, we're going uptown. You're coming with us. Harry, tonight we're going to teach you about life. So I say, okay. And off we go. We shut down the shop, bring down the gate, juga juga chukunk, and we go and we get a cab. And we take a cab up to Michael's apartment up at 103rd Street and 2nd Avenue. Yes, so we go up to Michael's apartment building and we're going to meet his friend Buck, who also lives in the same building. And we go on up to the fourth floor where Buck lives, and we meet him. He's a tall, slender black fellow, and he's a good old friend of Michael's and Steve's. They all three of them go way back to middle school. Yes, good old chums. So then Michael sneaks out. He goes upstairs to his apartment. He and Margie and the kids live up on the 9th floor. And he comes back with some cash. And where he got the cash, we won't ask Margie. No. And so off we go on a road trip. We go down to Buck's Black Catalina. And we get in, and off we go for a little spin. So we drive north, and we're going up towards the heart of Haarlem itself. Yes, and we're driving through the streets. We make a turn onto 125th Street. Right. And Michael says, Harry, you know where you are? Look around you, man. You on Sugar Hill. And so we're driving up 125th Street, and there's the Apollo Theater itself. Yes. And I'm going, look at the architecture in this neighborhood. It's amazing. And they're like, yes, it is. So we drive on, weave through the neighborhood for a while, and we get up to 144th Street. And Gregory says, over here. So Buck pulls over and parks the car. Gregory's going to go into a particular establishment and pick up some of the contraband for tonight's adventure. So he gets out of the back seat of the car. Me and Gregory are in the back. Buck's driving and Michael's in the front passenger. Gregory gets out of the back of the car and he says, I may be sometime. And I say, whoa! Isn't that exactly what Oates said in 1912 in Antarctica when he stepped out of the tent to commit suicide? Gregory looks at me. And he looks in the car and he says, see if you can find a muzzle for him. And so then he shuts the door and poof, he's gone. And I'm looking around. I go, look at the architecture. Look at the scroll work, the stone scroll work on that stuff. You can't do that today, not for the prices that go on. And Buck says, well, yeah, you know about Haarlem, don't you? And I say, yes, I don't know about Haarlem, do I? And he says, well, back 200 and 300 years ago, Haarlem was just a little village way north of New York City. New York City proper was way down at the bottom of the island, and this was way up in the country. It was a couple of hour journey back in those days. And so after a while, in the 1800s, they decided that maybe they could turn it into a vacation getaway for the white people. So they started to build a whole new neighborhood there above 120th, 130th, and they started building scroll work and beautiful different varied types of architecture and styles and the like. And they were going to have it be a suburb for the city proper. But it was too far out of town for any of the white people to want to make that long journey. and none of the property was selling. So they had to figure out what to do, and they thought that maybe they should cut their losses and sell it for cheap. Michael said, here come the black folk. Buck said, yes, there was a large population of black people down in the Lower East Side. There was also a large population of Jewish people. Now, the white people hated the Jewish people, but they hated the blacks more. So they thought maybe they could trick the black people into moving out of town, essentially up to the country, and maybe get rid of them. So they started to advertise in the black neighborhoods about these fantastic rates that were on sale up north in the northern part of the island. Well, it started to happen. Black people started to move in, and the white people were happy. They say, well, we'll keep the Jewish people just so long as we can get rid of the blacks. And so neighborhood after neighborhood up in Haarlem, more and more people, black people, moved in, and that's how Haarlem got started. Black people didn't know what gates they had opened. The Haarlem Renaissance was not far behind, and they turned it into something that was greater than the sum of its parts. And that's how Haarlem got started. I'm like, "Oh, wowie zowie," said the white boy in the back seat of the car. Gregory suddenly opened the back door, and he hops in. He says, well, what are we waiting for? And Buck starts up the Catalina, and off we go back down to his apartment. Yes. So we get down to the apartment there, going up to the 4th floor. Buck turns on the television and turns down the volume. He turns on the radio, and Don't Stop Till You Get Enough by Michael Jackson is playing. Slightly frenetic music for a slightly frenetic time. Yes. All right. So what we did was we sat around in the living room in a circle with a crimped dollar bill, a folded dollar bill with all the contraband material, the powder sprinkled inside, and we had a Bic pen top. Remember the Bic pen cap, blue plastic? Yes. Any of you out there who remember the Bic pen and the Bic pen cap, comment, like, subscribe, and share, please. Yes. Anyhow. So we pass it. You take a scoop of the illicit powder and pass it on. And he takes a scoop and passes it on. And around and around and around it goes until there is no more left. Don't stop till you run out. Apparently. And so when you are on this particular illicit substance, time goes into another dimension, and a great deal of time can pass in just a very little of time. And you have no idea how much time has passed. And we're sitting here talking and gabbing and yakking away. The music is playing. We're solving the problems of the world. And Buck is telling me further about Haarlem and how the Apollo Theater opened in 1934 to the black clientele. It was all white before that. It was built in 1914, apparently. And that was really part of the Haarlem Renaissance. He said, I remember my mother and father telling me that they saw Cab Calloway, they saw Duke Ellington, they saw Ella Fitzgerald at the Apollo. And it was like fantastic. So we're sitting around, passing it around. We're out. And then Lionel Richie comes on. He says, all night long, which had come true for us. We had been here all night long, and we had to get to work in the morning. So it's time to pack things up and get out of here. Now, Michael just had to walk up a few flights of stairs, but Gregory and I had to make the trek across town. So Buck is wide awake. We all are wide awake. And so Buck volunteers to drive us home. So he does. And we cut through the park, and Buck does not drive like a taxi driver. He drives at a normal pace. And I am still glued out of the window looking at the night sights of Central Park as we cross through it in the middle of the night. It's just delightfully beautiful. And we get over to my neighborhood, and they pull up right in front of my house, in front of my apartment building. And I get out of the back, and I come around, and Michael rolls down the passenger window, and he says, well, Harry, good night. I said, gentlemen, it has been a fantastic evening. Oh, what a night. Michael said, isn't there a song like that? I said, Buck, it's been a pleasure to meet you. He says, pleasure to meet you, Harry. I say, all right, gentlemen, I'll see you tomorrow. And Gregory says, tomorrow. And off they go, poof, and they were gone. So I went into the all-night deli and got 2 beers. to go up to my apartment. I ran up to the apartment and turned out all the lights and put on music loud. And I sat around drinking beer, smoking reefer, and saying, that is how to spend a Friday the 13th. Then eventually I felt weary enough that I could maybe get some sleep before work in the morning. Let's try and get some sleep in. So what I like to do in New York is play one last song, full blast, in the dark like that, and then I turn it off when the music is over and climb into bed and go to sleep. And one of my favorite songs to play is The Internationale by the Red Army Chorus. Yes. And so all the lights are out, and I put that on, and it is the people's anthem. It's about how people must band together and rise up and not let the government push us around anymore. It's a fantastic song. It is, and it roused a nation of people. Yes, it is, and it can rouse another nation of people. Yes. Internationalom Vospranje trod ljudskoj. The people shall rise up together. Yes. All right. Please comment, please like, please subscribe, and please share. Thank you for coming along this journey with me, and I so look forward to telling you about what happens next. All right.